After my wife suggested an open marriage, I hired a private investigator and discovered her shocking double life. I sat at the bar with my buddy Toby, celebrating what seemed to be a promising deal for both our companies. We sealed the deal with a beer, taking a sip, as a loud noise erupted from the other end of the bar. "What's going on over there?" Toby asked. "No clue," I replied. Turning our attention, we spotted a young blonde woman in a booth, surrounded by a group of burly men. She appeared quite tipsy, laughing loudly at something one of the men said. Notably, she wore a short skirt and a sleeveless top. Despite her resemblance to my wife Donna, with her long blonde hair and a rose tattoo on her shoulder, I knew it couldn't be her. Donna was away on one of her long business trips, this time in Houston for 4 days, working with the factory management. Given her frequent travels due to her job selling security equipment to factories nationwide, I took the opportunity to meet Toby in Oklahoma City without disrupting family life. As we observed the blonde woman, whom we dubbed Blondie Rose, she and the group exited the bar, passing right by us. She walked hand in hand with 2 men, one black and the other Hispanic. Catching my eye, she flashed her dark blue gaze before they all chuckled and left through the door. "Hey Bob, you all right?" Toby inquired once the group had departed. "Yeah, it's me. I'm Bob Carson, head of product development at RER Industries in Denver, Colorado," I clarified. I had been handling negotiations for a deal with Toby's company to manufacture a new line of air conditioning controls for energy-efficient smart homes. With the growing concern for the environment and a shared commitment to sustainability, this deal benefits both our firms. Today's celebration marked the successful conclusion of these efforts. "Yeah, I'm fine," I assured him. "It's just that this woman reminds me so much of my wife, Donna." "Isn't she supposed to be in Houston?" Toby questioned. "Yeah, she is," I confirmed. "But there's something about this blonde that's unsettling, hard to explain." Just then, the waitress approached our table. "We'll have 2 more beers," I informed her, halting her before she left. "But before you go, can you tell me anything about that blonde?" "Oh, her?" she responded cautiously. "I've seen her around here a few times, always surrounded by a bunch of guys. You don't want to get mixed up with her, do you?" "I was just curious," I remarked. After finishing our beers, we called it a night. I assured Toby we'd stay in touch and made my way to my room. Once there, I attempted to reach Donna, but each call went straight to voicemail, which struck me as odd since she typically kept her phone nearby. Trying the hotel where she was staying in Houston, I was informed she had checked out early that morning. While it wasn't unusual for Donna to manage multiple clients during one trip, she always made sure to inform me of any changes to her travel plans. Sending a message, I wrote, "How are you? Everything okay?" Her response came swiftly. "I'm tired," she wrote. "Long day, getting ready for bed." "Where are you?" I inquired. "At the hotel," she replied. "Where else?" I thought to myself, what's going on here? It was unlike Donna to deceive me, or was it? "I'll be home on Friday evening as planned. See you then. Love you," she added in a follow-up message. Reading between the lines, I understood this as her way of saying, "Don't bother me, but I love you more." In response, I simply reiterated my love for her. Confusion enveloped me as I returned home the following day. If Donna wasn't at her hotel, then where could she be? Was she even in Houston, or had she gone elsewhere? I resolved to discuss it with her when I saw her. Friday arrived promptly, and, true to her word, Donna made it home before me. Her car was already in the garage. As I ascended the stairs, the sound of running water greeted me from the shower. I undressed and opted to join her. She screamed when I opened the shower door. I moved closer, attempting to embrace her, but she recoiled. "What's wrong?" I inquired. "I haven't seen you in days, and you're acting like I'm some kind of assailant or something." "You scared me half to death," she exclaimed. "Please let me just take a quick shower and I'll be out in a few minutes, okay?" Understanding her reluctance, I shrugged and exited. "It's all right," I assured her. "I missed you and I simply wanted to show you some affection, that's all." Hurriedly, I left the bathroom, dressed, and descended the stairs, where I grabbed a beer and settled in to watch the news. About 30 minutes later, she came down wearing shorts and a t-shirt. "I'm sorry for yelling," she apologized. "I missed you too. The trip was awful." "I tried calling you on Wednesday. Where were you?" I pressed. "I was in my hotel room," she insisted. "Then why did they say you checked out early that morning?" I questioned. "Oops, I forgot to mention it. There was a bathroom leak, and the floor was wet. They couldn't offer me another room, so I switched hotels. I should have informed you." "I was worried about you and had good news," I explained. "Oh, what's this?" she exclaimed. "Remember the company in Oklahoma City we were negotiating with? I went there while you were in Houston and closed the deal with the financial director. It's a lucrative opportunity, and if it pans out, we can start thinking about having kids." "Were you in Oklahoma City 2 days ago?" she asked, a hint of concern in her voice. Yeah, I was. Why? I responded. You didn't mention going there, she pointed out. It was spur of the moment. Toby was available, so I flew over, spent the night, and came back. I clarified. I thought you were in Houston and wouldn't miss me. I tried calling to let you know but couldn't reach you. Then I called the hotel and they said you checked out early, I explained. I'm sorry, she admitted. I should have told you, but I didn't want to bother you. It wouldn't have been a hassle, I reassured her. Hey, I've got news for you too, she announced. My territory's been expanded. I'm taking over for one of the other reps who's leaving. That means I'll be on the road even more, maybe 4 or 5 days a week. 4 or 5 days a week? Every week? I exclaimed, taken aback. I hardly see you as it is. How long is this going to last? I'm not sure. Until they find someone to replace him, hopefully within the next 3 months, she replied. Damn, I muttered. When does this start? Monday. I'm flying out to Miami on Monday morning, she revealed. I found out about it last night when I checked into the office. It's crazy. We had dinner, watched TV, and then went to bed, where we made love before falling asleep. I wanted to spend as much time with her as possible before she left for Miami, so we went dancing on Saturday night, which led to another night of wild physical involvement. On Sunday, we slept in and spent most of the morning undressed in bed. She finally got up around 1 to start getting ready. I got up with her and did my usual weekend yard work. That evening, we ordered pizza and ended the day by making love again. As she left for the airport on Monday morning, she kissed me and said, "Keep this nice and warm for me," running her hands down the front of my pants. "Count on it," I assured her, casually giving her a kiss goodbye before she departed. She called me every evening to let me know she was okay. When she returned, we spent the weekend making mad, passionate love. This went on for about 4 weeks, and then it happened. It was Monday morning, and I had just sipped my first coffee upon arriving at the office. Donna had departed for New York on Sunday, mentioning she'd arrive there early Monday morning. She also indicated that this trip might extend for at least 5 days, perhaps longer. Though I wasn't thrilled about it, she assured me all was well and that we'd benefit if things went smoothly. After finishing my second cup of coffee, I returned to my office. Suddenly, a strong urge to urinate hit me, prompting a trip to the men's room. It was there that I experienced an intense pain unlike any I'd felt before. It was as if my dignity was ablaze. Memories of similar symptoms discussed among fellow servicemen flooded back, and I realized Donna had left me with something. Informing my secretary of my need to see a doctor, I swiftly left the office. Doc Brown had been my primary care physician since my Army days, and I trusted him. He diagnosed this swiftly. After collecting samples and running tests, he returned with a diagnosis. "I'm sorry, Bob, but you have gonorrhea," he disclosed, administering an antibiotic injection and prescribing a pill. He delved into my carnal history, inquiring about partners and encounters. "I've only been intimate with one person in the past 7 years, my wife, Donna," I informed him. "We've been married for 6 years, and prior to that, she was my only partner." He regarded me with a sorrowful expression. "I understand," he said. "She needs to see a doctor urgently." Handing me a piece of paper with instructions to follow, he emphasized, "No carnal activity for 2 weeks. No problem there," I assured him. There was no way I was going to be intimate with Donna again. After briefing me, he sent me on my way. I settled the bill and made my way to the exit. Once in my car, I called my boss to give him a brief update on the situation. Having gone through a divorce himself, he empathized with me and granted me the next couple of days off to handle things. Driven by the need to unravel what my wife was up to, and with whom, I embarked on some research and eventually reached out to a private investigator. "Hammer Investigations, how may I assist you?" greeted a friendly female voice when I called. After introducing myself, I requested a meeting. The receptionist informed me I could meet with the investigator immediately. Agreeing, I arrived at their office. Upon introducing myself to the receptionist, she informed me that Mr. Hammer was anticipating my arrival and guided me through to his office, located in a charming business park near a doctor's office. I half expected a dimly lit, smoky room, but was pleasantly surprised by the well-appointed office. The receptionist greeted me with a wide smile and informed me Mr. Hammer was expecting me. "Please, follow me." As she walked, I couldn't help but admire her legs and rear. Her long hair swayed with each step. Knocking on the door, she ushered me inside. A burly man rose from his seat, extending his hand. "James Hammer," he introduced himself as we shook hands. "Please, take a seat. Can I offer you a drink? Coffee, tea?" "No, I'm good, thanks," I declined. Once the secretary exited, James turned to me. "What can I do for you today, Mr. Carson?" he inquired attentively, taking notes as I recounted the situation. Have you consulted with a lawyer yet? He asked. Not yet, I replied. Well, we happen to collaborate with several lawyers in the area, he mentioned. I can recommend one if you'd like. That would be helpful, thank you, I accepted. Your wife is in New York? He queried. I nodded. Is she traveling elsewhere this week? I don't know, I admitted. She hasn't mentioned any other plans. I can call her office and find out, he offered. Why don't you do it? Taking out my phone, I dialed her office number. After a few rings, her secretary, Janice Billings, answered. I requested to speak with my wife's assistant, Patricia Holder. Soon, Patricia was on the line. Hi, Pat, it's Bob Carson. Could you provide me with some details about my wife's schedule? I inquired. Usually she leaves it with me before her trips, but I seem to have misplaced it. I'm sorry, Mr. Carson, but Mrs. Carson doesn't work here anymore, Patricia disclosed. Didn't she tell you? Tell me what? I asked, bewildered. She resigned about a month ago, Patricia clarified. I'm surprised she didn't mention anything about leaving, I remarked. Did she explain why she was quitting? Something about the chance to earn more money. Doing what? I asked. She didn't disclose the name of her new employer, Patricia replied. I'm sorry, Mr. Carson, but I don't have any further information for you. It's all right, Patricia, I reassured her. Thank you anyway. After wrapping up the conversation, I relayed the details to James. Interesting, he commented. Suddenly, it struck me. I had installed a phone tracking app on her phone a few months back after she misplaced it during a prior trip. Fortunately, it was found and returned by hotel staff before she flew home. When she returned, I installed the app again as a precaution. Opening the app, I awaited the location report of her phone. According to the app, her phone was registered at the Courtyard New York Manhattan Hotel. Yet she had told me she was staying at the Times Square Hotel. Why was she at a different hotel? I shared this information with James, who took note of it. Then, a memory resurfaced, the night I spent with Toby. What if she's disguising herself? I pondered. Could your team track her? We have methods for such scenarios, James assured me. Do you think she's capable of changing her appearance? I recounted the encounter with the woman I saw that night with Toby. After a brief pause, James replied, This seems more complex than a typical infidelity case. Your wife is evidently concealing something from you, Mr. Carson, and she's gone to great lengths to keep you in the dark. I do have associates in New York and other cities who occasionally assist me, he explained. Involving them will incur additional costs. I need to uncover what she's up to, I insisted. Please, connect them to this. Sending James some pictures of Donna, I awaited his response. He acknowledged receiving the photos before passing me paperwork to complete. I'll attend to it promptly, he assured me. I'll oversee her activities in New York. It may take a few days, but I'll get to the bottom of it. I'll contact you once I have a report ready. Handing me a business card bearing the name Robin Hawkins' lawyer, he advised, She's the sharpest legal mind around. Sharks avoid her path if you catch my drift. I suggest contacting her immediately. Feel free to mention our discussion. I'll ensure she receives a full copy of my findings. Thank you, I appreciate it, I acknowledged, concluding our meeting. We rose and shook hands. I left the documents with the secretary, providing a substantial deposit. Exiting the office, I retrieved James's business card and placed a call. Though Robin was unavailable, I secured an appointment for 8 a.m. on Wednesday. Satisfied, I headed home, contemplating whether to contact or message Donna. I opted against it. Historically, she would call me when she finished her daily tasks. I decided to maintain the charade, allowing her to believe I was unaware of the situation. However, I resolved to peruse her documents, securely stashed in her desk drawer. The lock on her desk was fitted with 2 keys, mirroring mine. She had one key, and I possessed the other. Much like she had access to my desk, previously invading her privacy wouldn't have crossed my mind, but that was before she deceived and betrayed my trust. As I opened the drawer and surveyed the meticulously arranged folders within, I couldn't help but appreciate Donna's organizational skills, an aspect I typically valued. I began my search and came across a thick folder brimming with bank statements from an unfamiliar bank. Recollection struck. She had maintained a separate account since our marriage. I assumed she closed it when we established a joint account shortly after tying the knot, but evidently she hadn't. Some statements, dated back at least a year before our marriage, displayed a balance exceeding $500,000. What's going on here? I wondered. Examining the statements, I noticed sizable deposits from a company called Stanton Enterprises, unfamiliar to me. I made a mental note to investigate further. Additionally, there were withdrawals for lavish items like high-end clothing, jewelry, wigs, hotel stays, and plane tickets. One ticket was for a round-trip flight from Houston to Oklahoma City, purchased just days before my meeting with Toby. Could it be? Was the woman I glimpsed at the bar posing as Donna? Digging deeper, I unearthed 3 payments to Planned Parenthood clinics. The initial payment occurred roughly a year post-marriage, followed by 2 subsequent ones at intervals of 1 and 2 years thereafter. Desiring clarity, I delved further, uncovering a folder containing receipts and statements from various medical professionals and clinics. At the top lay a receipt from the doctor she had visited just before her recent trip. According to the records, she had undergone examination and treatment for gonorrhea. Furthermore, I stumbled upon 3 receipts from different clinics for D&C procedures. I didn't require further investigation, I knew their purpose. Since our marriage, she had undergone at least 3 terminations without informing me, not even disclosing her pregnancies. It felt like a blow to the gut. But that wasn't all. A folder packed with tax forms from 3 years back caught my eye. Donna had insisted we file separate tax forms, citing concerns about her bonuses and commissions potentially elevating our tax bracket. Though we debated this, I eventually acquiesced. Now, the truth behind her insistence became clear. Besides her disclosure, hinting that she earned significantly more than she divulged, I discovered transfers from Stanton Enterprises. The latest transaction indicated a substantial sum deposited into her account. However, the purpose remained unclear. Another folder yielded crucial information, signed consent forms and a contract between Donna and Stanton Enterprises. While I didn't grasp all the legal jargon, I gleaned the essence of the document. It appeared Donna had agreed to star in at least 5 adult films annually for 5 years. The contract, notarized and dated over 3 years ago, bore signatures from both Donna and Harold Stanton, Stanton Enterprises president and CEO. Copying the folders, I assembled the documents into a new folder intended for the lawyer. I scanned the most damning papers into a PDF file and saved it onto a flash drive. My plan was to email them to James. After returning everything to her drawer and securing it, I felt I had amassed sufficient evidence, yet I craved context. Had she been unfaithful throughout our marriage, and where did this influx of money originate? Lacking access to her emails or texts, I found myself at a disadvantage. Sending the files to James via email, I phoned him to inform him of the update. He expressed gratitude and promised to examine the information further. Moving to our master bedroom, I navigated to her dressing room. Normally, I respected her privacy, but I decided to explore her closet. Amidst several bags of revealing attire, more suited for nightclubs, I discovered a couple of wigs, one resembling the one I saw in Oklahoma City. In addition, I found a stack of plastic drawers containing various items. Among them were small boxes holding cosmetic contact lenses. Although Donna didn't typically wear glasses or lenses, these were purely cosmetic, altering eye color. I stumbled upon a small booklet that seemed to hold temporary tattoos. One of them resembled the rose I spotted on a woman in Oklahoma. Damn, I pondered. How deep is Donna willing to go to deceive me? Who is this woman I've married? Continuing my search, I came across a box tucked away in a corner housing an array of pleasure toys. Once I expressed a desire to witness her use such toys, but she rejected the idea, deeming it perverse. At the box's bottom, I discovered a DVD in a plastic case labeled DD and the Boys, Volume 1 Raw Footage in black marker. What in the world? I muttered. Heading downstairs, I inserted the DVD into the player and switched on the TV. The screen revealed a dimly lit room with a narrow, upholstered bench. A date stamp in the lower right corner indicated the video was captured about 3 years prior. Interesting, I mused to myself. As the bench bathed in bright light, Donna approached, wearing a short sundress and a long red wig, presumably to conceal her identity. In the background, a rough male voice instructed her to disrobe. "You arrived on time, good. Now undress," the voice commanded. "Yes, sir," Donna replied softly, nodding. She unbuttoned her dress, slipped the straps off her shoulders, and let the garment fall to the floor, revealing her undressed. A towel-clad man approached and scrutinized her as if she were a commodity. "I see you're married," he remarked, lifting her left hand to reveal the rings I placed on her finger when we married. "Yes, sir, I am married," she affirmed. The man inquired further. "Does your husband know what you do?" Donna replied, "He knows." The man pressed on. "Is he okay with this?" Donna nodded and replied, "Yes, sir, he's fine. He knows he can never satisfy me, so he said I could go and find someone to satisfy me carnally." Shocked, I exclaimed at the TV, "What? I never said anything like that." Then it occurred to me that perhaps this was the narrative she was expected to uphold. Subsequently, scenes unfolded featuring Donna engaged in carnal acts with multiple men. I observed that none of them used protection. It's no wonder she caught gonorrhea. I thought, pondering what else she might reveal. Shocked would be an understatement. I was devastated. I cried, screamed, and screamed. How could she do this to me, to us? In that moment, I realized all the love I felt for her had vanished, replaced by burning hatred. I wanted her out of my life forever. Needing an escape, I cleaned up and headed to Hitchhiker, a bar and grill I frequented. Ordering a beer and a burger, I sat, pondering what had gone wrong in my marriage. I racked my brain, trying to discern what I had done to drive Donna to such actions. I'd always treated her with kindness and respect, showering her with love from the moment we met. I often surprised her with flowers or cards to express my love. I believed we had a fulfilling bedrock life. I certainly was satisfied, and she appeared content too. I never even entertained the thought of cheating on her. I would never betray her trust like that. So why is she doing this? Finishing my burger, I glanced at the time. It was 4. I had an idea and dialed Robin Hawkins's office. With what I had uncovered, I knew I couldn't wait any longer to initiate the divorce proceedings. After listening to the secretary's spiel, I made my request. "Well, let me check, Mr. Carson," she responded. "It appears there's been a cancellation, and Miss Hawkins is available tomorrow at 8 a.m. Would that work for you?" "Absolutely," I affirmed. "Very well. I'll reschedule your appointment right away, and she'll see you first thing in the morning." "Thank you," I expressed my gratitude. "See you then." It brought some relief. Shortly after this call, my phone rang. It was Donna. Debating whether to answer, I ultimately picked up. "Yes," I greeted her curtly. Bob, it's me, Donna." She sounded taken aback by my tone. "Are you okay?" "Not really, Donna," I confessed. "I've had a rough day. How are you?" "It's a bit early, isn't it?" she remarked. "Well, it's not too early," she countered. "You know I'm in New York. I just wanted to let you know that I'm heading out for dinner, and then I'll be busy with clients tonight." "Thanks for the update," I acknowledged. "How's everything going for you?" "Pretty good, actually," she reported. "The deal we're working on looks promising for our bottom line." "That's good," I responded. "Bob, are you sure you're okay?" She sounded concerned. "You don't seem yourself." "I'm just not feeling well at the moment," I admitted. "Sorry." "Is there anything I can do?" she offered. "No, there's nothing you can do," I replied. "I'll probably turn in early. Maybe I'll see someone if I still feel bad tomorrow." "Take care of yourself," she urged. "I want you to be in good health when I return. You know I miss you." "Yes," I acknowledged. "I love you," she expressed. "Me too," I responded before ending the call. I wondered if she noticed my omission of the words "I love you" in return, but I didn't really care about her feelings toward me anymore. I finished my burger and returned home, where I lounged on the couch and watched TV until I drifted off to sleep. The following morning, I woke up early, brewed coffee, showered, dressed, and gathered all the necessary documents to meet with Robin. Arriving a few minutes before 8, I was promptly ushered inside. Robin rose from her seat and shook my hand. "Good morning, Mr. Carson," she greeted me. "What can we assist you with today?" she inquired. I recounted all the information I had and placed a bulky folder on her desk containing the evidence I had amassed thus far. Robin carefully examined the contents, her eyes widening as she reviewed the documents. After perusing everything, she set the folder down and turned her attention to me. "I assume you've already spoken to Mr. Hammer?" she asked. "That's correct," I affirmed, "and I've provided him with some of this information. He mentioned that he has colleagues in New York who will oversee her there." "Understood," she acknowledged. "What are your objectives in this matter?" "Simply put," I replied, "I want her out of my life. I aim to retain my home, pension, income, and all assets. As far as I'm aware, she stands to gain $500,000 from her accounts, pension, and personal property. I'm not inclined to provide any financial support. Judging from the financials, it appears she earned considerably more than you," Robin observed. "However, I don't foresee significant issues with spousal support. The court may compel you to sell the house and allocate half the proceeds, along with a portion of joint assets to her, but I'll endeavor to minimize this. Fortunately, in this state, you can pursue legal action based on infidelity, which most judges consider when dividing assets. I'll consult with James, assess the evidence, and devise a strategy." Upon her return Sunday afternoon, I informed her. "Excellent," she remarked. "This will afford me sufficient time to compile everything and initiate legal proceedings." She handed me her business card, having inscribed her personal cell phone number on the back. Additionally, she gave me a sheet of instructions. "If anything arises, don't hesitate to reach out. Avoid rash decisions. I'll contact you once the documents are prepared for submission." "Thank you," I expressed my gratitude. She smiled, signaling the conclusion of our meeting. We shook hands and I exited the office, pausing at the secretary's desk to settle the advance. The following 2 days passed uneventfully. My routine remained unchanged. Wake up, work, return home, eat, sleep. Although my boss offered me time off, I felt restless and preferred to stay active rather than idling at home. On Thursday afternoon, Robin called and requested a meeting with James and her at her office the next morning. I agreed and informed my boss, who granted me Friday off. Later that evening, Donna phoned me. "I just wanted to inform you that everything is proceeding as planned and I'll be back home on Sunday afternoon," she stated. "That's reassuring," I replied. "What time do you expect to arrive?" "I'll catch a taxi from the airport and should be home around 1, she informed me. "Then we can celebrate." "Are you excited?" "Yes, absolutely," I affirmed. "All right, honey," she said. "See you then. Hope you've been taking your vitamins. I plan to tire you out with our lovemaking." I chuckled in response. "Sounds enticing," I remarked. "See you then." We concluded the call and I reclined in my chair with a grin. Someone's in for a surprise, I thought to myself. The following day, I arrived at Robin's office a few minutes early and was promptly ushered into a conference room. I exchanged handshakes with James and Robin and was introduced to 2 imposing men in dark suits. "Bob, meet Agent Smith and Special Agent Jones from the FBI," Robin said. "FBI?" I exclaimed. "Why are they involved?" "We'll address that shortly," Robin replied. "Please, let's take a seat and discuss." As we settled down, Robin produced the divorce papers. "These were filed in court yesterday afternoon as per your request," she informed me. "You mentioned your wife's expected return tomorrow at 1 p.m., correct?" "Yes, that's correct," I confirmed. "All right," she continued, passing the papers to James. "James will deliver these to her. He's also a notary, so he can attest to her signature if she signs. I believe she'll comply once she comprehends her predicament." James opened his briefcase, stowed away the papers, then retrieved a thick folder and a stack of DVDs, placing them on the table. "What's all this about?" I inquired. "This is my final report," James stated. He passed me a photo of a rather disheveled-looking man with slicked-back hair. "Who's this?" I inquired. "He seems pretty sketchy." James chuckled. "That's Harold Stanton," he replied, "and you're spot on about him being creepy. He's the head honcho of a national chain of strip clubs based in Richmond, Virginia. Plus, he's heavily involved in the adult film biz. Quite the character, if you ask me. A few years back, he made a failed bid for Congress and caused quite a ruckus on social media with his wild rants. About 5 years ago, he started up an exclusive men's club. Entry was easy, just fork over $55,000 and meet the physical requirements. "What do you mean by physical requirements?" I probed. "They've got to be well endowed," James clarified. "Or at least 9 inches. "You mean?" I speculated. "Yep, that's the one," James confirmed, preempting my question. "This club's got branches all over the country. They gather once or twice a month for wild parties, sometimes recruiting local girls. So my wife was one of them," I surmised. "Yep, she's been at it for at least 5 years," James confirmed. "Damn," I muttered. "But how did she manage this during her work trips?" James elucidated. "From what we've gathered, she's been shortening her trips by a day or 2. She'd join the event, then need a day or 2 to, compose herself and regain her bearings. She figured that within a couple of days she'd be back to her usual self, hoping you wouldn't notice any changes." This deceitful woman, I silently seethed. All this time I had no clue what was going on. "She went to great lengths to keep her double life hidden from you," James continued. "She frequently disguised herself with wigs, temporary tattoos, and colored contact lenses to alter her appearance. Knowing you respected her privacy, she stashed away her tools of deception in her closet and desk drawer." I reflected, recalling the items I discovered. But James had more to reveal. About 3 years back, Stanton saw an opportunity to profit further by filming the monthly group activities for sale. Participants received a portion of the earnings, he disclosed. Your wife agreed to take part, signing an open-ended contract committing to 5 videos per year. So far, she's directed 15 films for Stanton, he concluded, gesturing toward a stack of DVDs. Stanton uploaded excerpts ranging from 5 to 10 minutes of these videos as promotions on various adult websites, James disclosed. Currently, these clips have garnered hundreds of thousands of views and downloads. Your wife's talents are widely recognized now. But that's not the end of it. About a month ago, Stanton hired your wife on a full-time basis. Apart from performing, she's been assigned the role of recruiting and training other women to follow in her footsteps, James elaborated. I sat there stunned, processing James's revelations. "So why is the FBI involved?" I inquired. Special Agent Jones chimed in. "Remember that physical involvement cult case involving a local actress a few years back?" Jones queried. "Yes, I vaguely recall hearing about it," I acknowledged. As far as I recall, the ringleader received a hefty prison sentence for that, I recollected. Indeed, he was sentenced to 120 years, Jones confirmed. We suspect a similar scenario with your wife and Stanton. We can't divulge all the details presently, but we'll need to apprehend your wife. Your cooperation would be greatly appreciated. Naturally, I'll do whatever I can to assist, I assured them. If Donna's involved in something like this, I won't just stand idly by. What's the plan? We deliberated strategy for about an hour. I listened as Smith and Jones outlined their approach, and the rest of us offered input. Eventually, we settled on a course of action. All right, Mr. Carson, Jones stated as he stood up. I'll see you on Sunday. Sounds intriguing, Agent Jones, I replied, shaking his hand. We bid farewell and I watched them depart. I'm truly sorry about all of this, Bob, Robin expressed. I have to admit this situation is quite extraordinary. I've never encountered anything like it. It's hard to believe she deceived me for so long, I remarked. I feel like a complete fool. Robin retrieved a business card from her briefcase and handed it to me. Bob, I think once this is all resolved, you should really consider speaking to someone, she suggested. This consultant, in my opinion, is the best in the business. I strongly advise you to give her a call. I glanced at the card, noting the name Dr. Jamie Bronson. I'll contact her as soon as I get home, I promised. Good idea, she concurred. I shook her hand, gathered the materials James had provided, and headed home. Upon arrival, I phoned Dr. Bronson and arranged to meet her the following Wednesday. Then, I proceeded with the tasks we had discussed in Robin's office. Sunday, 2:05 p.m. Bob and Donna Carson's residence. Shortly after 1, the door opened, and Donna entered, carrying a suitcase, her briefcase, a rolling duffel bag, and a large garment bag. She laid everything out on the sofa and smiled at me. However, her smile faded as she noticed the items arranged on the kitchen table in front of me. Sit down, Donna, I stated calmly. We need to talk. I really need to go. Take a shower and clean everything up first, she replied. It can wait. No, Donna, I asserted firmly. We need to talk now. But, I said, sit down, woman, I exclaimed. She flinched at my outburst. I had never raised my voice to her like that in all the years we'd been together. Slowly, she approached the kitchen table, eyeing everything I had laid out. She pulled out a chair and sat down. What does all of this mean? She inquired. I ignored her question. Tell me something, Donna, I pressed. It was you I saw in Oklahoma City the week you claimed to be in Houston, wasn't it? The shocked expression on her face shifted, and Donna, who sat before me, transformed into someone unrecognizable. Yes, it was me, she admitted calmly. I was surprised to see you there and half expected you to do something. It's a good thing you didn't. Those guys would have stomped you into the ground. By the way, how did you recognize me? You can dress up any way you want, Donna, but no matter what you do, it won't change your face. I would recognize you anywhere, I informed her. So, were you ever going to tell me about the 3 fetishes you had? Actually, there were 4 fetishes, she corrected. The first one was a couple of months before we got married. Were any of these children mine? I queried. Maybe, she responded. Maybe? I don't know. I've had physical involvement with a lot of guys, including black or Latino guys. I didn't want to risk giving you a child who was clearly biracial. Besides, I really didn't want to be burdened with a child. In the end, it's my choice. Yes, I agree that it's your choice, I acknowledged, but it's also my choice to never want to touch you again. How long has this crap been going on? I know it's been at least 5 years. This went on even before we got engaged, she admitted. At first, it was maybe once every 2 months or so. Then it became a monthly event. Eventually, I would do this every time I was out of town. At first, I arranged all this myself. Then, I met Harry Stanton, and everything changed. Why? I asked, shaking my head. It's simple, she explained. I like physical involvement a lot, and I like it when several men have me at once. Don't get me wrong, you're a great husband and a wonderful lover. You always drove me crazy, but there was also a difference. You made love to me. They just made physical involvement with me, again and again and again. That's all that happened, just physical involvement. It had nothing to do with you, and it never changed how I felt about you. I loved you. I still love you. I've never turned you down, and nothing I've done has ever hurt you. So now that you know, there's no point in hiding it. You're a stupid fool, I said. You think nothing you did hurt me, really? You freaking gave me gonorrhea, you stupid cow. Did you tell them you had physical involvement with me, or did you lie about that too? I really regret it, she admitted. I thought that as soon as I got my chance, everything would be fine. And no, I did not include you in my list of carnal partners. Amazing. No wonder I didn't get any warning. Well, obviously you weren't all right, I said. How long did you plan to continue doing this crap? I don't know, she shrugged. Maybe several years. I decided that once I saved up a few million, I could retire, and then we could go on a cruise and reconnect. I take it this isn't going to happen now, is it? No, I informed her. I have already completed the divorce papers. You won't do that, she said with a grin. First of all, you don't have the courage to divorce me. Secondly, I will bury you in divorce. I'll take everything you have. And who knows what Harry and his boys will do to you. Is this what you think? I asked. Or we'll see. I looked toward the front of the house and shouted, "Okay, now you can come out." At that same moment, the door to my home office opened and 5 people came out. Donna looked up in surprise. James walked up to Donna and looked down at her. "Donna Carson," he said, handing her a manila envelope. "You have been notified." I handed her a pen. "If I were you, I would sign this now so we can end this sham marriage," I said. "I won't sign this," she said. "I will fight you every step of the way." "It might be a little difficult because the FBI will freeze your funds," I said. She looked at me in shock. "FBI?" she asked. I nodded my head. "Yes," I told her. "Meet Special Agent Jones and Agent Smith. They will take you into custody. I understand they have a warrant for your arrest, so sign the papers now. In 60 days it will all be over, and you can focus on your defense." I saw her deflate while I was talking. Trembling, she took the pen and signed the papers. James witnessed her signature and affixed his notary seal, then took them back. "I'll take this to Miss Hawkins," he said. 2 other people, Donna's parents, walked around to look at Donna. Her mother spoke first. "Donna, I'm so ashamed of you," she said. "How could you do this to Bob?" "I'm just following in your footsteps, Mom," Donna spat. Her father and I looked at Donna's mother in shock. "You're the one who told me that I should grab everything I can get." "Is this true, Denise?" asked her father, Ralph. Denise muttered something for several seconds but did not say anything intelligible. "We'll talk about this when we get home, Denise," he told her. He looked at me before speaking again. "I'm sorry about all this, Bob," he said. "I had no idea. We have all of Donna's things and she can come to our house for them whenever she can. Do us a favor and stay in touch, okay?" "Of course, Ralph," I said, shaking his hand. "Thank you." I watched them leave. After the door closed behind them, Agent Jones spoke. "Donna Carson, you are under arrest on charges of conspiracy, racketeering, and physical involvement trafficking. Please stand up, turn around, and put your hands behind your back," he said. Donna followed his instructions and glared at me as Jones read her rights. Once she was handcuffed, they dragged her outside. James looked at me after they left. "Everything went well," he said with a wry smile. "Are you okay?" "Yes, James, I'll be fine," I said. He nodded his head, then extended his hand. "Take care of yourself, Bob," he said as we shook hands. 6 months later, the divorce went off without a hitch, thanks in large part to Robin's work and the criminal charges against Donna. Federal authorities arrested several people involved in Stanton's operation, including Stanton himself. After a couple of months of investigations, trials began. Donna was considered a flight risk and was denied bail. The court provided her with enough funds to pay for her defense. By the time the trial ended, she had spent more than 3/4 of her savings paying for her defense team. I spoke to her once after she was arrested. When the final divorce papers arrived, I visited her in the county jail where she was being held. They brought her out in shackles and tied her to the table opposite me. She looked like she had lost a little weight and had dark bags under her eyes. "You look like crap, Donna," I said. "Yeah, well, orange isn't really my color," she said. "What do you want? She's still the same impudent cow." "As far as I'm concerned," I said, "I was just curious to know if you've received the final divorce papers yet." "I received them today," she said. "You know, I had the opportunity to watch some of your videos," I told her. "Did you like them?" she asked with a grin. "No, actually, I find them quite disgusting," I said. "It doesn't matter," she said, shrugging. "However, I was curious about something," I told her. "I noticed that they all start the same way. A small, homely guy is beaten, stripped, and tied to a chair with a chastity cage on. Was this your idea?" "Actually, that's how it was," she said smugly. "Was it supposed to represent me or something?" I asked. "Is this what you really wanted to do to me?" "Yes, it was my idea," she said. "I've thought about doing this to you several times. This was a long-time fantasy of mine, and I really enjoyed it." "You're truly twisted, you know," she shrugged. "You honestly didn't think I'd just sit back and let you do that to me, did you?" "I don't know," she said. "Maybe." "Well, it's a good thing you never attempted it," I said. "I've never laid a hand on a woman, but if you had, I'd have been sorely tempted to end you." She stared at me in shock. I didn't wait for a response. I've heard tales about what you and Stanton did to those girls, I said. How do you sleep at night? What, should I start crying, apologize, and beg for forgiveness? She spat. I shook my head. No, I'd expect that from a person, I said, or at least someone with a conscience, but we both know those terms don't apply to you, do they? You know, looking back, it's probably for the best you never had kids. You were a lousy wife, and you'd be a lousy mother. I thought I glimpsed a hint of sadness in her eyes, but truthfully, I didn't care, and I pressed on. Why don't you do us all a favor and end it? I asked. Her eyes widened. The world has enough problems. We certainly don't need you wasting air. I rose, preparing to leave. Oh my God, I turned you into a monster, didn't I? She asked. You really despise me, don't you? Did you piece all of this together on your own? I asked. Yes, I genuinely loathe you with every fiber of my being. Because of you, I doubt I'll ever love or trust another woman again. I hope it was worth it for you. Enjoy the rest of your sorry life. Goodbye. I turned and walked away. I thought I heard her sobbing, but I didn't care. I aimed to inflict pain with my words, and I hope my message resonated with her. Not long after that final meeting, Donna cooperated with the state, divulging to federal authorities all the information they sought. In exchange, she pleaded guilty to lesser charges and received a 5-year prison sentence. James informed me that she would likely spend most of this time in isolation at an undisclosed location. Thanks to her testimony, Stanton was handed a 105-year prison term. The thought of him being dominated for the next century brought a smirk to my face. The rest of his team faced severe sentences. Ralph and Denise went through a rough patch, separating for a few months after a heated argument at my place. Though she swore she hadn't cheated, Ralph found it hard to trust her. They nearly divorced, but decided to attend counseling together. While they're still together, their relationship is strained. I moved forward, striving to rid Donna from my life. I sold my house and bought an apartment near my workplace. I hit the gym a few days a week to get back in shape and dated and even slept with a few women, but none resonated with me. I began therapy with Dr. Bronson, who's been instrumental in addressing my issues, but I know I have a long road ahead. Unless you've been through it, you can't grasp the pain of being betrayed by someone you loved and trusted for years, as Donna betrayed me. However, things are looking up. I have my job, my new place, my freedom, and I've noticed some women at work taking an interest in the new me. Yes, I'm still working on my problems, but who knows? Tomorrow's another day,